It's a beautiful rainy afternoon in the hills right here in Jamaica. And as I listen to the pitter patter of the raindrops on the roof, well, not really, outside, I'm so excited. This is a moment I have been waiting for more than a week, and it's now time. Ladies and gentlemen, I have the distinct privilege to welcome to the Sweet Life Travel Podcast a gentleman who he'll make you laugh, he'll make you cry, he'll make you retrospect, he will make you become so much more than you ever thought you could be. I speak of no other than Dr. ABC, Dr. Andrew B. Campbell. Oh my goodness. I met Dr. Andrew um, quite interestingly, actually, as he is a part of a group that we are working with for their reunion. And, I must say thanks to COVID. COVID has gotten blamed for a lot of things, but a lot of good has come out of the fact that a lot of us have time just to sit and to listen and to share and to be a little bit more connected. So thanks to having a little more time, I was able to connect on Facebook with Andrew and follow the amazing work he has been doing. And then I discovered that he taught at my primary school. Now that's big. You can imagine, I am here in Jamaica, he is there in Canada, and Waterford Primary comes up. Go figure. What are the odds? A blast from my past. And so at that moment, I knew I had to connect with him. But as we journeyed through the content of a lot of his presentations, I started to get hooked. And I started to imagine this 6'5" frame. And he's quite a looker too, ladies and gentlemen. Hello, I'm just putting it out there because you know me, I'm just me. And I hope he's blushing. Dr. Andrew, how are you? Welcome to the Sweet Life Travel Podcast.
Thank you for having me. And yes, I am blushing. But you know what? That is something that is very important, that we see the beauty in each other. I think we're not programmed to see the beauty in each other. We're not programmed to compliment each other. We're not programmed to admire each other. And I think that is something we need to change. And so thank you for seeing that. And I think the more we do that, the more we see light in ourselves and we see the beauty in ourselves. It is a small world indeed. You and I meeting. It is a small world indeed, and I think in light of what we're going to talk about with traveling, the more you travel, I think the more you realize the world is smaller than we think it is, and we are similar. We have so many similarities between us. As I travel, especially food, I'm a foodie, and especially food, there are so many food stories that bring you back to Jamaica when you travel. I've gone to far places and you go right back to Jamaica because of the food stories and the way of we people see food. So yeah, I'm excited to have this conversation with you. And something you said, thank you so much for going on my page. I also want to share with you that my new website is finally there, so you can find all about me at drabc.ca. So that's drabc.ca. And of course, this podcast, I am going to be making sure I place a copy on my website so people get to know more about me in different ways. So thank you so much.
This is just wonderful, and there's just so much that I want us to talk about. I have a funny feeling that there might be a part two and even a part three, because having met you via you're gonna have to now correct me with the name, but I know it's a spoonful. That's the bit that I remember. There was something that pulled me in. It was so pure and honest and revealing, something that as humans nowadays we're taught not to be. You know, if I were to quote some of the things that were spoken about, I wouldn't even be able to remember specifically. But you know what I remembered about every interview? How you made me feel. And in my business, I like to tell people that I sell feel good. And to be honest with you, Dr. AVC, that is what you have given to me, a feel good sensation. You have made me feel as though you have taken me into giant arms, wrapped them around me, and made me feel good. I don't even know if that makes sense, but that's really what has led me to wanting to chat with you.
Yes, you're correct. It's called A Spoonful for the Journey. And it actually is my Facebook Live, or should I say my YouTube video series. And it is come from my book. So I published my first book, Teachable Moment with Dr. ABC, which is available on Amazon. And then what I do, and that was published 5 years ago, by the way. And so during this, the COVID, I decided I want to do readings. So it's actually live readings from the book, and then we have a discussion, and it's going great. People love it. People look forward to it. But it's also following my coaching services, because I do offer one-on-one coaching, and most of it's about motivational talk and support and career advice. So that is what it is. And yes, you have to be authentic. If you're going to share parts of yourself, the worst thing you could do is when you're going to share parts of yourself or you attempt to be revealing, then you becomes pretentious with that. Because if you are pretentious and revealing at the same time, that's a recipe for disaster. It's better you become pretentious and secretive or revealing and pure. But the pretentious and revealing, they don't work together. It's a recipe for disaster. So, of course, I am deliberate in my intention to be authentic, because the truth is, there's so many offerings out there to talk to people, and people want an honest opinion of something. Even in the world of travel, somebody will ask me about my experience, and somebody wants an honest experience, an honest opinion. And of course, my experience is different from yours. But when you share your personal experience, you can lose being authentic in that sense. It's also funny you elaborated on the feel good part, because so for some persons feel good may be basic. For me, feel good is a major, because if you think about the voices you hear, the people you meet, the incident that happens, your way to work on a regular day, whether it's driving or the bus, the people you meet, the places you eat, the cafeteria, you don't get to feel good about a lot of things that happen in our world. We live in a world where we feel so despondent, we feel so distracted, we feel so disappointed. And so for me, my energy is about feeling good. And I give that to people. A part of also being authentic is that I cannot give you what I don't have. And that's a big part that some persons, struggle to allow you to feel good. They struggle to hug you. They struggle to give you that big hug you talk about. And the reason why they struggle with that is because they don't have it. If you check my book, one of the things I wrote about is the idea of such as I have, give I thee. Of course, that is from the Bible, the whole idea. But I build on that idea, such as I have, give I thee. You can only give what you have. Sometimes we reach out to people, whether it's family or friends or partners, and we want support, we want love, we want attention, we want a flower, we want a hug, and we don't get it. And the reason why we don't get it is not that they are bad people. They don't just have that to give. And so for me, I've nurtured my own self. So you will never get me giving you feel good when I'm feeling horrible, because I can't do that. So I make sure I water myself first, and so I can be able to water you and water others. And just to underline the idea, the concept, because I know persons may be listening and thinking, what is this spoonful? So the idea, as I said before, the book, and I'm sure you'll show your listeners the book. It's called Teachable Moments with Dr. ABC. That's me. And this volume, which was published 5 years ago, it's called A Spoonful for the Journey. And it came from the idea that we all need a spoonful. If you remember as a child growing up, we'll get a spoonful, whether it's of spoonful of vitamin, a spoonful of cough syrup, a spoonful of even worm medicine. And the spoonful was always given to you. to make you feel better. And that is why I do the spoonful. So the spoonful, even if it's a rough one, because if you listening and if you continue listening, you're going to realize some of the spoonfuls are very strong, very, very strong, maybe even bitter to the taste. But what the intention is, it will make you better afterwards. It will make you feel good afterwards. And I'm sure you remember as a child, getting some of those spoonful of medicine. You started, I don't know if you remember, you started making up your face and you started crying before the spoonful even get to your face, because once you see your mother go for the spoon and go for the bottle, you start to just give drama because you didn't want to take medicine. But medicine is good for us, and a spoonful is good for all of us.
Boy, Dr. ABC, you have given me so many different things to touch on. I'm not even sure which ones to go at first. But the spoonful, yes, of course. I am seeing in my mind's eye just now, there was this cough syrup, Berkeley's maybe. It was the most horrific tasting thing. And I think it had a green label with white and black writing. You see how vividly I remember, and this is from when I was a little girl. And I remember just by seeing that bottle, the face makeup, the tears start, you name it, because this was just the most horrid thing. But if I were honest and really paid attention, I don't think I got maybe more than one or two spoonfuls for whatever bout of cough I had, because shortly thereafter, it all cleared up. Now I want to get to the beginning. And one of the big questions that has plagued my mind, for want of a better term, is the name Dr. ABC. I know it's the initials for your name, but when did you think that this could actually be a title? I'm very into names. If you tell me an unusual name, I would probably be the person to ask, what does that mean? What's the origin of it? And I get very disappointed if the owner of the name should just say, oh, I don't know, or my mother gave me, or something very frivolous. I believe that, there's a reason for a name. And so one of the first things I thought of when I saw you use the title Dr. ABC, I said to myself, I wonder if his parents were even thinking that they were doing the start of the alphabet when they named him the way they named him. Food for thought. Of course, I also want to comment on what you have said about being authentic and allowing the real you, the true you, the full you to shine through. And what I've discovered, particularly with persons with strong personalities like what you have, and me too, sometimes, and this is another thought that I had when you said a spoonful, I thought to myself, my God, we can't take more than a spoonful of Andrew at a time, because there is so much of him to take in. If you take too much at a time, you will be overly concentrated. So, it's so funny because our words, especially if your mind works the way my mind works, it will convey a certain amount of imagery. And I literally form all of these images based on the words people say. So yeah, very powerful, powerful words. But of course, I want us to get to the meat of the matter, even though we've got so many different things to talk about. But I sense your love for travel, your love for adventure. I was listening somewhat on and off, unfortunately. I think it might have been Saturday's presentation, and you were somewhere at a Bahia Principe, and you were really getting into the description of a private lagoon, pool area, something to that effect. And of course, even without seeing the property, I started to imagine what it looked like. And I think I want us to kind of journey in that direction, first of all. And in the middle of what you have said, you did speak about self care. And that's another direction, particularly with what's going on now, that I want us to talk about a little bit, Because as human beings, men and women alike, particularly when you are a caregiver, and caregiver is not necessarily the person who's taking care of an old person the way it is thought of in our society. The caregiver is somebody who's giving care. So you're a wife, you're a mother, you're an auntie, you are an uncle, you are a father, you are a caregiver. And the more responsibilities that are piled on top of a caregiver, the less time they have for self care. And so, even in this season of my personal life, my focus has shifted. It is focused so much on self care that if you were to observe me from a distance, you would think that I have changed a lot. And maybe I have, but my focus has shifted. Previously, it was on the outside, it was about giving, doing, being, representing. Now, it's all about self care. Because you see, as a wife, as a mother, as a leader, as a teacher, I have spent so much giving out, not realizing that along that journey I started to deplete myself. And so now it's all about restoration, building back, putting self first, so that, as you rightfully say, I can give what I have. You cannot give from an empty wagon. I cannot love from a loveless heart. I cannot support from a supportless system. So let us journey along those lines. There's so much to unpack, so much to unravel, so much to bring to the forefront. And I want us to spend a little time in these areas.
You know what? I do not think my parents thought about the alphabet and all that kind of stuff. Actually, I'm the baby, so I'm the last one. Okay, so I'm not sure if they thought about the alphabet there. But what I know is that I didn't realize. I'm going to tell you this. I did not realize my initials were ABC until I was a teacher in the Bahamas. This was maybe 2002 to be exact. I remember 2002 because I was teaching grade 5 in the Bahamas. And a child one day came to the classroom early in the morning and said to me, "Good morning, Mr. ABC." And I said, and he blocked the door and I said, "Get out the way." And he was like, "Mr. ABC." And he kept saying it. And I look at him like, "Little boy, go sit down." Because, I'm the teacher, don't play foolishness. And I said, "Sir, your initials." Because, the day before the kids asked me my name. And children, getting the teacher's first name is like gold. Because, they can't call you by your first name. And getting the teacher's middle name is like they are a billionaire. So my kids found out my entire name, Andrew Bruce Campbell, the day before. And this little one, he came up with the idea to ask me about my initials in the morning. And when he said that to me, I'm going to tell you something. Get ready for this. I signed my name for years a certain way. That very day when I realized my initials were ABC, I was in shock. Like seriously, I changed my signature on that day, went to the bank the next day, changed my signature. And from 2002 until now, my signature is ABC. It's funny because sometimes I've gone to the bank or I've gone places and I've signed my name, and you could see the teller looking at me like thinking, "Oh, I guess this one can't read and write, so you just put ABC or something like that." But I love my initials. I love my initials. And as a teacher also, I'm very proud of my initials because it feels like it's all about teaching. So I'm really, really over the moon about my initials. You'll be surprised how much. For me, self-care has always been the go-to. And when I said I've always been, because a lot of people, and I want to establish that a lot of people feel like self-care means you have money to do all the fancy stuff. And I'm going to get to the travel in a minute. But I want to establish that self-care doesn't mean you have all the money to do the fancy stuff. I always tell people, I have been doing this before it was a thing. When I host people at my house and I do things, I said, I've been doing it before it was a thing, because I think what we do, we look on television and see self-care as buying the most expensive thing and being by the biggest hotel at the at the jacuzzi at the lagoon, sipping champagne, and that kind of stuff. We feel like that is self-care. And I want to say to you, I know what it is to sip a glass, a beautiful glass of a champagne in a cute spot as self-care. But I know what it is to sit down in a backyard under a coconut tree and turn off every single thing and drinking a good glass of lemonade with a whole heap of ice in it. Cause if you don't put whole heap of ice in your lemonade and the ice don't shake and touch the glass, you're not drinking lemonade, right? And squeeze good green lime and then drop the lime skin in it too. And just sit and just think. It's a self-care is more about upstairs, which I say upstairs, I mean in your head, than about even the physical things you do. Because there are many people who are doing those physical things we call self-care and they're under pressure. There are people in a jacuzzi and can't enjoy it. There are people who have champagne and can't enjoy it. There are people who have a bath in their house and they can't enjoy it. So it's not about money. Self-care is more about a frame of mind, a space. And self-care, let me just say this to you, self-care is very intentional and very deliberate. You have to tell yourself you're going to do this. So for instance, I work hard and I do long hours. When I come home and I said I'm going to have a bath, like not a shower, because I shower maybe every time, and then a bath once in a blue moon I get a bath. But when I say I'm going to give myself a bath, it means I'm going to fill that bath of water. I'm going to pour in all the salt and the oils and the bubbles and the bombs, and I'm going to light 2-3 candles, pour myself a glass of wine. And the first thing I'm going to tell you I'm going to do is you will never get me on the phone. You will never get me on the phone. And I put the music on, I turn the lights off, I turn the candle up, and I just chill. And sometimes I realize it's 40 minutes I'm in the bath. It's 1 hour and 10 minutes I'm in the bath. I'm breathing. I'm relaxing. And so self-care has to be very, very, very intentional. And I think that's the thing that I want to talk about when I talk about self-care. It has to be intentional because the world is not going to make space for your self-care. We are busy people. We don't have to, the world is not going to automatically give us space for our self-care.
It is a wonderful time. We have gotten house shocked, lockdown shocked, if there's any such thing. What am I talking about? It's time to get out there, ladies and gentlemen. We are opening up for business and it's exciting. And there are two wonderful promotions that we want to share with you. The first one is the brand new Ocean by H10 Hotels. Yes, sirree, they have opened their Jamaica property, fully built from scratch with 24-hour all-inclusive availability, and the facilities are second to none. Ocean Coral Spring is waiting for you. We have got special rates into summer 2020. And of course, if you book now, those specials will extend all the way to Christmas. And boy, have we had a year so far. We are just ready to get out there and to explore and to do everything. So, Share Fantastic Travels and Resorts Limited, we are opening up Ocean by H10 in Jamaica just for you. You need to book this now. The Morella Discovery 2 has been sailing out of Montego Bay for many years and it has offered the Caribbean like none other. Now we are excited, ladies and gentlemen, to add to the Morella 2 and her itineraries come May 2021. Yes, you heard right. May 2021. The Morella 2 Discovery, the Morella 2, the excitement is getting to me. I can't even speak. The Morella Discovery 2 will be sailing from Port Canaveral in Florida. Yes, indeed. Think about it. We can do a Disney, a NASA, and a Morella cruise all in one vacation. Yep. You heard it first right here. Share Fantastic Travels and Resorts Limited. It is bigger and better. You need to call us now. You know how to find us. 347-757-6728. Don't forget, like us on YouTube, Share Fantastic Travels and Resorts Limited. You could win a travel voucher just by subscribing between now to the end of June. So, this is your time. Where would you like to go? Subscribe now. Thank you so much, Dr. ABC, for sharing that. And I was really hoping it was a good story. I was hoping that, you weren't going to come on and say something so very flat. And thank God you have lived up to my expectation, because you know what? The drama that you have brought to my life, I just needed it right now. So I just really, really am excited to know that a child led you into this discovery. This is amazing. Oh boy, I have been journeying with you. I've been following you since the spoonful. And forgive me, I'll always massacre the name, but it's the spoonful part that catches me and keeps me going. And there's so many different things, and I know there's some other things that you're going to be responding to, and that's fine. But there's so many thoughts, every time, like an onion, you peel apart another bit of ABC and show to the world, show to us. It just opens up so many new questions. But I will not move away from your name yet, because my thought is, isn't destiny, isn't grace, isn't providence something else? Because who knew? Your parents certainly could have had no idea that you would have been an educator, extraordinary based on what I hear. And to give a name that is so apt, and for you, thanks to that child in the Bahamas, to have discovered it, it just pulls everything together. It's like coming full circle. And I find that very, very inspiring as well. And speaking of inspiring, there's another thing that you spoke about that I really want us to unpack at some point. And yes, I have been sharing with my audience the June series that you'll be running. And with the unpacking of what I have in my thoughts, I have a funny feeling that something along those lines will be coming out. But the thing I really want us to talk about, even in brief, is being true to yourself. And I want us to stay there just for a little bit.
Self is so basic, but it is yet so complex, because I feel like you got yourself, so it's almost like a free thing. You don't have to work for it because you got yourself, but you got yourself. And this is the analogy I use. You got yourself like a shell. You are like a shell. And as you work on yourself, you coloring or filling that shell, or it's like a coloring book where yourself is just colorless. It's empty. It's a page. Yourself is just that thing on a page. And as you live your authentic self, you coloring the parts. You color in your hair. You color in your eyes. You color in your lips. You color in what you're gonna wear. You color in your shoes. You color in the shade of lipstick you want. You color in even the grass around you, because these coloring books, they like to put somebody standing and then they put grass around them. You color in even the grass around you because that's your surrounding. That's important. Your surrounding is a part of yourself. Because some of us, we are destroyed because of not what is in us, because of what is around us. Oh, I can stand it. Oh, I can stand that one just now. Some of you are destroyed not because of what is in you, but what is around you. And that's a Dr. ABC quote, honey. You better get it right. You know what I'm saying? So that is important. We understand that self is bigger. Self is so much bigger than the simplicity with which we treat ourselves. Think about it. For instance, when you said, I'm going to wake up in the morning, think about how you wake up. You wake up, you get up, you wake up. But be intentional about how you get up in the morning. If you think about how you rise up in the morning, how intentional, who is the first person you see, what do you say? Even how you speak to people in the home in the morning, it's all about who you are. So there's so much to self, and I'm sure I definitely will unpack some of that with you, because a lot of the things I will be speaking on, it's about us. It's about us. It's about self, because self comes first. Because I want to explain to people that you cannot give what you don't have, and that is why some of us are so damaged. We keep on trying to give what we don't have, and it goes both ways. Because some of us are damaged because we keep expecting from people what they don't have to give. We want love from a man who don't have no love for himself. We want patience from people who are not patient. We want kindness from people who are mean. Some of you want somebody to be kind to you. The person is mean to themselves. You don't see how they look. They're mean to themselves, but we are expecting them to be kind to us. So self is about about in you, but it's also about the external factors around you that get to shape who you are. And many of us, we are shaped by the people around us. We are shaped by the people around us. We are shaped by the people around us. We have to remember that.
Andrew, I know our listeners in the diaspora, they're having so much fun with this, because it's not really until you leave home that you really understand how important these things are. And we like to call them little things, but are they really little things, or it's just what makes us unique? Chewing up the bone have a story in itself. I remember when I went to Spain. Went to Spain, student exchange program, got to my host family the day I turned 17. And I didn't speak Spanish. They speak Catalan and Spanish, no English. And of course, the only thing I could do to communicate was to smile. And boy, I spent the next few weeks smiling like juice. Anyway, on the day I got to the home, it was my 70th birthday. And I'm trying to tell them it's my birthday, and of course, they don't understand a word I'm saying. Or so they pretended. They would have, got the idea, whatever, because I kept saying cumpleaños and whatnot. But they're like, what? So, to my surprise, when I got to the house and it was dinner time, the people put half of a chicken, half, I kid you not, half of a chicken in my plate. Now, for a Jamaican coming into Europe, leaving home and going into a first world country, and this is dinner, I'm like, somebody knows that this is my birthday. And I tell you, brethren, I could not help, because you see, the meat was seasoned to the bone. And when I tried to be the decent girl and saw the good bones going to waste, I had to do a thing with them. And the poor family was in shock. And from that day going forward, I realized I was with family. I could chew my bones. And they had a dog named Nuka. Never forgot it. And for the entire time, my host father would just harass me endlessly. Sharon, the rate at which you're going, Nuka won't have anything to eat. But yes, chewing the bone, sucking out the marrow. Oh my God, this is home right there. And how did it come about? We probably need to go figure that out. But it is a part of what makes us Jamaican. Just sitting on that tree for true, drinking a jelly coconut, having some lemonade. You stop by your neighbor and they offer you something to drink. Back in the days, it wasn't anything artificial that they bought at the store. It was some good old lemonade. And some people had a knack to make some of the most refreshing lemonade on the planet. This is home. This is home. And I tell you, you're just bringing me into very nostalgic places. And I hope my listeners in the diaspora are feeling the very same way.
Just one more thing I want to say about the bone, though, is that, and this is it's exactly with traveling. The more you travel, the more you realize the similarities and differences between people or cultures, because that idea of sitting under a tree, the bone, it's really not about the bone, it's about the comfort. Because I'm sure you and I know it's not just about the bone, it's the comfort, it's a trust. Because I'm sure you and I will never go certain places, and throw up our bone, because we know what is appropriate, right? And so it's more about the trust and the comfort. And I'm going to tell you this: I have gone to places where the quote, metaphorically speaking, throwing up the bone was good. And I remember one of those places that I love and I enjoy was Vietnam. Going to Vietnam and going to Hanoi in Vietnam. It reminds me of country and the simplicity of the people, but the beautiful and people just doing their stuff. And I mean, when I was there, the bone, I mean, we never had to chew the bone, but the whole concept of just being so comfortable and now in Vietnam brings me back to that space. Another place that brings me back to that space is the Bahamas. I love the Bahamas. And there are many times that I've taken my lunch when I used to live in the Bahamas, taken my lunch on the beach and sat under a tree on the beach. And just, yeah. So I think sometimes when we travel, we have to remember that it's more than the bright lights and the fancy hotels. Sometimes it's the moments. It's those beautiful moments that let you realize that the world is indeed a beautiful place, but you have to create that beautiful experience when you travel, right? I do want to say thanks for this opportunity to share with you. I really enjoyed it, and I'm enjoyed it. Sorry, and I'm definitely hope we'll get to do this again. And as you said, you know what? So much you said is so powerful in that last portion about seeds, and the analogy you made about plants and being planted and being watered. And I think a lot of us sometimes we take some of those things for granted because we hear them so much, and so we don't really penetrate on them. And when we realize how valuable they are, sometimes we have already lost the opportunity. And so my spoonful series, I do a lot of work in equity, diversity, inclusion, and leadership. But one of my favorite things to do also is to inspire and to motivate, because something you said really resonates with me about being rich and about being successful and about being amazing. And I think a lot of us forget that it's more than money in your pocket. You have to be smart with the money in your pocket. You have to be smart with the opportunities. You have to be smart with the seeds. You have to be like Jack on the beanstalk. You have to be like Jack on the beanstalk. When you get your seeds, you have to go plant it. But I tell you the truth, I bet you if somebody was writing that book, Jack on the Beanstalk, and want to extend the fairy tale, I bet you there are other people or other persons who got seeds. Maybe there's a Jimmy, maybe there's a Joshua, maybe there's a Joe, that got seeds and throw away the seeds or do all kind of something with the seeds. So the idea that Jack planted his seed and it turned into this big beanstalk is something already to think of. And so for my spoonful series, it's going to be a week starting June the 15th to the 19th. It's like a lunchtime series. It's 12 o'clock every day, and it's 12 to 1:15. And we're going to start with looking at certain topics, and I can tell you the lineup is great. On Monday we're looking at a dream and what it takes to build a dream, and it's more than a dream, because a lot of us have dream but we have done nothing to the dream. You know what? If you keep on dreaming and I've done nothing to it, simply turn into a nightmare. The next day, I think I have the most persons have registered for the 16th, which is going to be Bad Lady, and I'm going to speak to the sisters, the queens, my sisters, my moms, my auntie, my daughters, my cousins, but also the men have signed up for it too, because a lot. It's like I'm almost. I guess you can even hear the tension in my voice, because it says, "Bad lady, you got too much stuff." And I can tell you from now, a lot of our women are walking around with way too much stuff. And so for me, I want to help them to do something that have helped me choose what to carry. On the Wednesday, I'm going to look at sustaining personal and professional relationships. Sorry. So we're looking at relationships. And I think a lot of us, we take relationships for granted. And I see a phenomenon happening out there, especially with our younger people, especially with our younger people, that they have a best friend on Monday and by Friday they are no longer friends. And it's happening a lot. You know, you meet someone and you realize the next day they introduce the person as their BFF, and then by Friday they are wicked and they are in malice and they are fought and they are no longer friends. And I think there's a problem because people don't know how to really inculcate and how to nurture and how to build strong relationships. I am proud of being a person who have had friends for 20 years, 25 years. Like when I say friends, I mean friends I talk to almost every day for those kind of years. And I've built friendship, but I've also lost friends. I've also had friends who I realized early on that this is not going to be a good friend. And so so there's a skill in how to nurture and build friendships. And we're going to talk about that. And then we're going to do something that I really am excited about Thursday the 18th, looking at life sets. Using your internal, external, and higher connections. We like to talk about building connections, and I want to talk about how do we build those connections internally, externally, and our higher connections. And of course, knowing me, I will not finish a series without talking about self-care. So one of the most requested one is also Friday the 19th, when we're going to talk about self-care. Self-care 101. How do we take care of the external self, but more so the internal self? So yes, success is more than just what money you have in your pocket, because many persons have money in the pocket and they have not been successful because they don't know how to take care of themselves. So I'm excited and I hope, our Jamaican peeps will join me and be a part of it. And I'm your own Jamaican person, so I'm coming from a space and a place that I know you understand. And so I'm very happy to share that with you and with everyone else.
Dr. ABC, this is just amazing. Thursday is my day. And, I can relate to the bag lady because, man, I went through a time of shedding, but it's not testimony time because you see, you and I have been pulled together by a force greater than both of us, because the commonalities that we share are such that, wow, I will tell you, we will be talking about it as we go along. But yes, Thursday will definitely be my day. But I want to share just before I close that I started a journey in 2011, and it took me, we're at 2020. Wow, it took me 9 years to come to the end of the tunnel on that journey, because that journey began with me saying, new people. I was tired of being around persons who diminished my value, who did not understand my worth. And by virtue of them doing that, I diminished my value, paid no attention to my worth, never saw the diamond in the rough. And so in 2011, I started the journey to new people. Now, new people came with good new people and not so good new people. But I prodded on, and I can happily say 2019 became the official year of shedding. And as I started to shed, I realized, and not just people, I shed thoughts, I shed situations, I shed the bags that this bag lady was carrying through her life. The brokenness, the pain, the unspoken disappointments, the wishes that I dare not breathe, because how dare me aspire to such greatness? And it really feels like testimony time, because I give God thanks that right here, right now, in the middle of COVID, and this kind of ties into the last spoonful that you did that I listened to. COVID has been good to me, but we can't even get into this now, because this is going to open up our part two, which I'm hoping we will do at the end of your week, because I think at the end of your week, we will have grown, you as a presenter and us as the recipients. Yeah, I think we would have grown so much. But just in closing, COVID gave me time to find me, not time to make the bills, not time to sort out the clients, not time to fix the world's problems, because I obviously believe that if I did not do, then the world would just freeze over. But when the world stopped and I allowed myself to stop, then the beauty in me really emerged. The beauty, not the one that the world probably celebrates, but the one that I fell in love with. And so, as we close this spoonful, oh, this is not a spoonful, this is like a baking pan full. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been an absolute pleasure. We've been sitting here with Dr. ABC, and the golden nuggets have been just flowing. And I tell you this, we all have greatness within us. We just need to mine for it. Some of them are buried deeper, and some of them just need a little watering to bring it to the surface. But whatever we do, the greatness in us, we need to allow it to overflow, and we will inspire someone. It has been an absolute pleasure, Dr. ABC. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for spending the time and to listen with us, to journey with us, to be with us, to laugh with us. And we're going to do it again. And it's going to be so much fun. So remember, both for YouTube and for Facebook, you can find Dr. ABC, and of course, Share Fantastic Travels and Resorts Limited. We are here to take you on the next journey. Ciao for now.